The Vancouver Canucks have been linked to a former two-time Stanley Cup champion. I'll get into that later on this episode. Before I start, I just want to say to the 98% of you guys that aren't subscribed, if you're enjoying this daily Canucks news, we're going to break down the Canucks for the rest of the season with prospects, rumors, trades, game recaps, anything you can think of. So if you're enjoying this content, make sure to go and hit that subscribe button because, like I said, we'll be here all season. But with that, let's hop straight into the first topic today, which is the Canucks reported to be interested in Phil Kessel. Now, it did come out yesterday that according to Dolly, the Canucks have some interest in three-time Stanley Cup champion Phil Kessel. And as he says here, the Canucks are poking around at Phil. Of course, that'd just be doing due diligence from Allvin and his management team. They wouldn't be doing their jobs if they didn't explore this. The Canucks still talk and discuss Kessel, said Dolly. They keep in regular contact with his agent. They like his experience and what he's done in the past. He's got a relationship with Tocchet, Allvin, and Rutherford. So first off, I just want to say, obviously, this is taken with a grain of salt. A lot of teams are definitely calling on Phil. He's a three-time Stanley Cup champion. We've seen him produce in the leagues, but it seems like a lot of signs are pointing around that Vancouver's showing quite a bit of interest and a lot more than a lot of teams there. So when you do look at this, Kessel's name has come up a few times this season, as a 36-year-old veteran is staying in hockey shape and looking for a team with whom to sign. He has a history with the Canucks head coach Rick Tocchet, and also known as, which I love, the Phil Kessel Whisperer, when he was an assistant coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Arizona Coyotes. This is where Tocchet was an assistant coach. He won 2 Stanley Cups with Phil, and obviously knows Phil Kessel as he's been a part of an organization with him twice in his career. This does continue on. Luke Fox posted this last week in a Sportsnet article. This did come from the All-Star game where Phil Kessel was there just kind of showing his face, and Tocchet said, there's still value in Phil. I think he can still 100% play. So when you do look at this, obviously Tocchet has shown that he still notices Phil, still knows he can play, still sees value in him after coaching him for 2 seasons. As I said in the article, the Phil Kessel Whisperer. But I think there is some true value in bringing in a guy like Phil Kessel. I mean, Phil Kessel himself, it's a household name. Everyone knows Phil Kessel. He's 36 years old, so he is out of his prime. But this is a guy who knows how to put up points. As you can see, 36 last year with the Vegas Golden Knights, 52, 43, 38, 92, 70, 80. This guy knows how to put up points, and especially he knows how to score the puck. So does Phil really fit on this team, or is this more of a, hey, they're just kind of poking around to see what kind of traction builds? And it kind of gets to, like I said, does he fit on the Canucks? So when you do look at Phil Kessel, he is coming off his season with the Vegas Golden Knights. Obviously, he wasn't signed coming out of the season, but his name has floated around. This is just his cap hit from last season when he signed with Vegas. As you can see, it was a 1-year deal valued at $1.5 million cap hit. He was signed for that 1 year. They went on to win the Stanley Cup, but I think there is some value still in Phil. Yes, there is the kind of situation where he has an Iron Man streak going. No team wants to be the team to kind of break this, but I think that's where the true value comes with the Canucks, where if they bring him in, Phil's okay with breaking this Iron Man streak, not playing any games in a row if needed, just coming in when needed. I think this could be huge. I mean, you look at the Canucks lines right now, I'm pretty dead set on keeping these, in my opinion. Pius Suter, JT Miller, Brock Bessie, Mikheyev, Pettersson, Lindholm, Dakota, Bluger, Garland, and it kind of goes on. There's no one in this lineup right here that I would really want to switch. But the big thing with this is if you can bring Phil in for kind of a vet minimum, $1 million, just to have as that extra forward in case someone goes down, I think that's where the Canucks can find value in a guy like this, especially bringing him in for free. I mean, right now, if you see a guy like Lindholm go down or Garland go down, you're just a couple injuries away from a guy like Sam Lafferty, Hoglander, Dakota Joshua having to play into that top 6. Obviously, they can get this done. We've seen it before where these guys can slide into a pinch. Sam Lafferty did it last year with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've seen him kind of jump around the lineup in Vancouver as well. But I think this is where you could bring in a guy that has a bit of just experience with the Stanley Cup, having experience in this league. As I said, as long as he comes in at a cheap cap hit, under $1 million or just at $1 million, and the main thing is if he's okay to kind of come in and not really worry about this Iron Man streak. When you kind of look at it, as I said, Rick Tocchet has said before and has shown interest that he still thinks Phil Kessel can play. You kind of look at Phil Kessel where he has experience with guys in this organization, not just Rick Tocchet. And then you also see these reports, as I said, of them coming out and saying the Canucks are poking around on him. I think there is traction growing. Do I think they're going to sign him? It's really a 50-50 at this point. Do I think they should sign him? Yes. I think you bring this guy in, as I said, for a cheap deal, have him for a bit of insurance in the playoffs. If you need someone to play in the pinch in the top six, in the middle six, in the bottom six, Phil can do it. We've seen it last year with Vegas. Yes, in the playoffs he was scratched more than he played, but he still brings insurance in the regular season, and just having the experience of being in the playoffs, knowing what it takes to win, I think could do wonders for a team like Vancouver. So what's your guys' thoughts? Do you think signing Phil Kessel would be a right move, especially as just an insurance piece? Do you think he can come in and immediately make an impact, keep the Iron Man streak alive, and help the Canucks in the Stanley Cup? Or do you think this is a thing where they should kind of avoid him and maybe look for a younger option, or just kind of go down into the minors with a guy like Ashley Bames? But that'd be it for this episode of Canucks Digest. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go down, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love reading all the comments. I'm trying my best to kind of answer all the comments and just engage with everyone. But with that, that'd be this episode, and take care.